Silver has so many uses. I also believe the reason why I always point on to silver is I think we're going to get to a point where the market does normalize. What will that mean? Well, I think Dow Jones Industrial Average is going to crater at one particular time. I don't know where the bottom is. No one's smart enough to know where the bottom is. It could be Dow 6,000. It could be lower than that. But we're going to see gold double the Dow. So if we have Dow 6,000, we could see gold 12,000. And I think we're going to get a 15-to-1 ratio with regard, close to a 15-to-1 ratio with regard to silver. So just do the math. Hey, let's do that together here. So let's do 12. Oh, my calculator just broke. No, it's fine. And you're looking at like $800, in that scenario for silver. I mean, it's kind of unfreaking believable. And most people go, well, that's never going to happen. Well, people didn't think Bitcoin was going to hit 18,000, and it certainly did. And people didn't think Bitcoin was going to go back over 12,000. Everyone was telling me it was going to zero when I was telling people to buy it at 2,700. So it looks like I got that one right too. And I'll tell you something about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. It's going much higher, much, much higher. There's no doubt about it. So look, that's how people can protect themselves, at least from a financial standpoint. I definitely am not the guy with regard to a survival standpoint. Like if we get into a point where this is a worst case scenario with this pandemonium in the streets, and I think we can get there. I think it's going to get there by design because they need to do that. They need to create chaos. Once chaos is created, they will institute a new set of rules. And we're already starting to see some of that. So, I mean, maybe things will change for the better. Maybe they won't. Maybe a divine hand will come in and intervene. It certainly isn't Donald Trump, because a lot of people believed he was sent by God to fix this whole thing. That didn't work out too well. I'm not kidding you. I called Trump out. I called these people out. I'm like, you believe that Trump was actually put here as a savior deity, as in like Jesus Christ? Do you really believe that? Well, Greg, I really do believe. Okay, let's see how that works out. Didn't work out.
F. William Ingalls, the guy who termed the phrase full spectrum dominance, he did a lecture, and as a matter of fact, I talked to him behind closed doors long before Trump became president, and he told me that Trump and Trump's family were in bed with the mafia and the international criminal gangs around, and he said, if you believe that Trump would do something that would upset the apple cart, then you're crazy. And he said they would kill him, but he would be put there. And Ingalls said this before Trump was elected. He said that he would be put in the office, and it would be almost like a sideshow. And I'm paraphrasing. And this is to mislead, give other people hope that maybe this guy right here can turn things around, all while the rich would be stealing more and more and more and more and more. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it definitely has played out to be that way. It is a sideshow. I think that with regard to Trump's connections with the mafia, do I believe it's true? I don't know. People who have money tend to have some pretty strange bedfellows. So I wouldn't doubt it that he has some kinds of connections like that, but I wouldn't doubt that about a lot of people that have money. That's really the truth. There's always that fine line that rich people walk. They do things. When people acquire vast amounts of wealth, if you look back at the Kennedys, for example, look at what they had to do, or what they did to acquire the wealth that they have. It was all underworld stuff, insider trading, dark stuff. So, I mean, that when someone is so rich, you really got to sit back and say, did they really earn that the right way? It's probably not. If you were to search hard enough, you're going to find things in there that are not on the up and up with regard to that. But yeah, there were a lot of people, and still are people that I know personally that believe that not only is Trump going to win the election, but when he does, that that's it. He's going to lay down the law. He's going to end the Fed.
Yeah.
He's going to, bring about a utopian society. He's going to bring everyone together of every race, creed, religion, whatever it might be. There are people that really believe that. I have friends of mine who believe that. We can't even talk because we're so far apart. I frankly don't believe any of that, but they do. There are some people that, you know what it is? I think it comes down to they want to believe.
Yeah.
They want to so badly believe that there is a saving grace here, and unfortunately their faith is in the wrong place. You can't be putting your faith in a human being. That's number one, especially a guy like this with a track record that he has. But again, I mean, a lot of America's problems are very deeply rooted, and they go back a long time. There are still people in this country that believe that people should be separated by color, by age, by faith, by whatever it might be. And a lot of those kind of people are Trump supporters, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, that's probably President Trump calling you. But unfortunately, we're devolving in many ways. We're not evolving. And we're allowing ourselves to be manipulated. We're allowing ourselves to be divided and conquered. This is what people always do. This is how the few have controlled the many forever, unfortunately. But I don't know if it's a sickness or what it might be, but there's definitely something going on that is ugly, very, very ugly. And maybe things have to get uglier before they can get better. I really don't know. Generally, things tend to get really, really bad before any real change is made. And maybe we're just not there yet. Maybe we haven't seen it yet. Maybe we need that absolute moment of total pandemonium where we can get people to finally wake up to say enough is enough. But I don't know. We'll see.
I know the divide that you're talking about, because even in one of the martial arts academies that I attend, you have a lot of people. They have that same mindset, what you were saying some of your friends have, that it's Trump is going to do this and Trump is going to do that. And it seems like they don't look into the policies and they don't look into the actions. They just take it hook, line, and sinker. And they're not seeing that the policies are leading America and the American empire into total ruin. With that said, how will this play against the American empire abroad as she tries to maintain bases? Because a lot of people say she has 800 bases. Some people say that she has 900 bases. But on one of my shows, when I read the congressional report that was given, I believe it was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, from the Pentagon to Congress, they said, including the logistical camps and all of this, America had over 5,000 hubs where you can say bases. How would the debt problem, the printing of dollars in infinitum, and the constant deficits and debt affect the empire abroad?
Well, I think it's pretty fair to say that, unfortunately, that the America that we're in now is not the America that we once had. We're losing our status in the world. And there are other nations around the world, especially China, angling themselves with Russia, that would love to see the American empire go away. If you're asking do I think there is another war on the horizon? Well, there's always war. And if they need to do that to reduce the population, then they'll end up doing that too. It's crazy. It really is. But like I was saying, I think people, if they just kind of come together, realize what's going on, stop the nonsense, understand that, we are each other's best resource and we're not each other's enemies, we'll all be better off. Did I lose you? Anyway, I think I might have lost you. I don't know if you're working on it, but
I'm here.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's very difficult to keep track of all this stuff that's going on. And I on a macro scale, it's looking at everything in such a terrible state right now globally. and obviously this scamdemic had a lot to do with it. Um, I really just hope people come out like right now, start to understand that, and I've said this many times, that we're each other's best resource. Right? We're going to need each other when this whole thing comes down. And I urge people to get together with like-minded people. Find groups of people that you can count on, people that, aren't out to scam you out of $1 or something like that or mislead you. That's really what we need to do. Once we end up doing that, free thought, free action, free movement. That's really what it's all about. It's not about having our lives dictated to us by a bunch of freaks that are trying to control every action that we take. We've seen this before in history, and it always ends badly. And this is going to be no different. It already isn't any different. We're in a disgusting, hideous mess. And I don't know how they can fix it other than they're working towards an end game to just change everything. And I think part of that is reducing the population of the world. I know how crazy that sounds too, but I really think that's probably true too. They want to control everything. It's all about control. And it's a lot easier to control less people as well too. So you need to be ready for anything. As crazy as something may sound, like what I just said, you need to always be ready for it. You always have to have the high ground. You have to be prepared for a worst case scenario all the time. That's I think that's how you stay ahead of it.
I noticed in your previous clips and videos, you used to always say, as this thing implodes, it will be biblical.
Yeah.
Could you enlighten the people of what you were referencing and why it will be biblical?
Sure. I mean, if in fact this debt-based economic model is ending, and it does certainly look like that to me by design, that they're doing this by design here, what will happen at that one particular point where we cannot borrow anymore, when we literally do max out that credit card, when the debt market blows up? In other words, why would any individual, a business, a nation hold on to a unit of debt that is guaranteed to lose purchasing power? You have a 10-year yield yielding what, 0.7 right now with their actual rate, and the Fed admits they want a 2% target on inflation, which we know that's a joke, and we're way above that already. So there's going to be a point where a massive sell-off in the debt market is going to include a cratering of the dollar. Well, people are going to walk around and say, I can't buy anything with this. I can't buy food. No one will even take it, and this leads up to a new system. Once this one implodes and people are out there in the streets, wondering how am I going to feed myself? How am I going to feed my family? I can't go to the store. The stores are cleaned out, because when we get a debt market meltdown, when we get a stock market meltdown, the food in the stores is going to be gone within hours. We already saw what happened to the toilet paper. You remember that whole thing? Yeah. So people are going to be, what do I do? What do I do? The government, here come the trucks. Rely on the government. They're going to feed you. They're going to do that. They're going to do this. Then they're going to institute, obviously, some kind of a very harsh laws against being outside. They're already trying to do it now. The curfews. Look, they want to see what they can get away with. This scamdemic is a trial run. They want to see what people can take. Are you going to sit there? You're going to wear the New World Order symbol across your face? Are you going to allow them to lock you up? Are you going to allow them to dictate what you can and cannot do? Looks like people are letting them do that. So they're going to take it to the next level. But I expect absolute pandemonium to explode in the streets at one particular time. Again, by design, they want to create massive chaos. And out of that chaos, they're going to create their own order. And it's going to be a horrible thing to see. Unfortunately, we're marching right into it. I mean, look around us. It's happening now. But again, people aren't yet that violent, but they will be. People who are afraid of certain groups of people coming into the neighborhood and creating violence, you ain't seen nothing yet. Nothing. This is going to be everywhere.
And you said that the loss of life will be on a scale unimaginable, and it will. When this thing explodes, it will be worse than a nuclear bomb.
I think honestly that the debt bubble is the greatest threat to humankind, because it's about acquiring, it's a resource problem. We're borrowing from the future to acquire resources. Okay. Once we cannot do that anymore, these resources don't become available. So that's why we have the potential to see a mass loss of life. And I think that's going to be by design too. I really do. I wrote a paper on that, global debt and the human bubble. People can just look it up online. Global debt and the human bubble. It outlines how I think it's going to play out.
And how long, when this thing implodes? Well, first of all, how long do you think uh, it will be before it implodes? And how long do you believe the food will last on the shelves before we have just total pandemonium?
Well, once, in any kind of a bad situation, the food disappears right away. So, and then you can't, the stores won't be able to be replenished. If we're in a worst case scenario here, the dollar dies. Who's going to work for nothing? You can't buy gasoline. You can't do anything. So now there's no way to replenish anything. In a worst case scenario, you always have to be ready for that. And that's when pandemonium is going to break out. When is it going to happen? Don't know. I don't even think about it. All I do is I try to, think about what I can do, I guess, for now to at least put myself in the right spot. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are ready for a worst case scenario. They got their food, they got their supplies, they got stuff like that. And that's all important too. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. People need to come together. They need to come together with like-minded people. Groups of people have a much greater chance of survival in a worst case scenario than you're out there by yourself trying to fend. You got to get together with like-minded people. It's so important. But, like I said, like I always say, as a trader, I trade the market I have. I don't worry about a market crash. I just try to, every morning or every night or every moment of the day, I try to evaluate the situation. I look at what's happening with the debt market, the dollar, crude oil, stock market, try to listen to the news. What story are they trying to sell us today? And I try to come up with a strategy to stay ahead of it, and try to keep my people ahead of it too.
Now, in closing, what does the next 4 to 16 months look like in your mind in America and around the globe?
Okay. I think that's a pretty simple answer. Regardless of who wins this election, we're going to see mass debt expansion, like you can't believe. No matter who wins, that's where it's going to go. We're going to see the stock market go higher as the middle class dies. That will continue until it doesn't, unfortunately, until some other force interacts with it. The current trajectory of things, stock market, middle class, will continue until something bumps up against it. It's like an object in motion tends to stay in motion. It's the same thing here. So nothing's going to change with regard to that. You're going to see a lot more debt acquisition. If Biden wins, the people are going to get money. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be some kind of I don't know what they're going to do. But if Trump wins, the people will still get money, not as much. Corporations will get more money. So, that's how it's going to play out. I think with regard to Trump's mindset, he's all for making the rich richer. With Biden's mindset, he wants to give some of that wealth to the people. That's the difference there. But all it comes down to is more debt.
So in our closing, do you have anything particular to say to the people and especially let them know about Trader's Choice and everything?
Sure. People can find my work on my website, traderschoice.net. But, like I said, I don't want people to really, people should pay attention to this stuff, but don't sit there like a deer in the headlights. Think about what you can do. Think about some of the things that you and I have spoken about here, about maybe coming together, about realizing the plan, the divide and conquer. Don't let them do this to you. Get together with like-minded people. Start to interact with your neighbors, people in your neighborhood. Say hello to someone you've maybe seen 50 times, but you never said hello. Maybe it's time to introduce yourself to that person or a group of people. I don't know. I really think that people need to come together. I really believe that all this is important, but we are each other's greatest resource. So once the people can come together, that may be the force that interacts with this whole hideous thing that's going on.
And it is going to look bad. In closing, Gerald Salente said it's going to look real bad in the next next 12 to 22 months or something like that. Right. And If and what are your thoughts on that as we close out?
Well, I believe that. I think these are going to continue the way they're going and get worse. I've been telling people that you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything. You think you're suffering now. You still haven't seen anything yet. Expect more bailouts, one type or the other, not just for the people, for corporations here. The merger of these corporations and the new American government, this new world order, it's in our face. That's going to evolve. And then when the grand finale is not going to start in the stock market. The grand finale of is going to be the debt market, which is a time bomb. It's going to go off. It's just a matter of when it's going to go off.
So in closing, we like to thank you for coming on the show. You're always welcome to come back, and if you have any free time by the end of this month, I would like to have you back on so that you can give us a rundown of what transpired prior to the time that you come on and inform the people. You're always welcome on this platform. Thank you so much, Gregory. And I would like to say this to the people, because I have a beard right now. I was getting ready to shave, but hey, Greg, he hit me up and said, listen, we can do it in 15 minutes. I had to do what I had to do. So thank you, Greg. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, have a blessed one, man.
You too.